Hello, good day everyone. In this part of the presentation, we will be discussing about ratio, rate, and proportion. We will be differentiating the three, and we are going to identify whether these three are interrelated to one another. Starting with the first one, ratio. A ratio is a comparison between the quantities of two things. For example, we have it here. There are three triangles and two square, and then it was represented here, three triangles and two square. In ratio, we can write the ratio as 3 is to 2 or 3 to 2, or in a fraction form, 3 over 2. And that is what ratio is all about. Now, ratio can be written as A to B using the word to. And for the second one, the symbol colon, A is to B using the colon symbol, and A over B using the fraction notation. So we can write down ratio into three forms. Take note for this one. And next, let's now have a problem example or an example problem which is talking about ratio. For the first one, Liz and Beth are cousins and they have decided to become business partners. They have agreed that Liz will invest 250,000 pesos while Beth will invest 400,000 pesos. The profit from this business venture will be divided based on the ratio of their investments. What is the ratio of their investments which will be used later as basis in the distribution of profit? Yes, you need to situate the problem, which means that it talks about here that the business venture will be divided based on their ratio of their investment, which is the 400,000 pesos and then 250,000 pesos. Moving on to our solution, we need to write the ratio of Liz investment to Beth's investment as a fraction first. So looking at here, investment of Liz all over investment of Beth, you have it there, 250,000 pesos all over 400,000 pesos. Next will be, hence the ratio of Liz investment to Beth's investment is 250 or 250,000 pesos all over 400,000 pesos. We simplify the given fraction because the number is too big for us to know the division. And with that, 250,000 pesos over 400,000 pesos is equal to 25 over 40 as we simplify that one. And 25 over 40 is also can be simplified into its divisible number, which is 5. Therefore, we divide both sides, numerator and denominator, by 5. We get the simplest form, which is 5 over 8. Now we can conclude, therefore, the ratio of Liz to Beth's investment is 5 is to 8. So in this case, guys, if you're going to encounter bigger numbers, you are allowed to use your calculator, okay? Because it will take time for you to divide 250 or to simplify the fraction 250,000 pesos all over 400,000 pesos. Therefore, that is our final answer, this one. Okay, moving on. A young entrepreneur sells two products, A and B. The selling price per unit for product A is 120 pesos and 54 pesos for product B. Based on the sales record, there were 2,000 and 5,000 units sold for product A and B, respectively. The entrepreneur wanted to compare the sales of her two products. What is the ratio of the sales of product A to the sales of product B. Interpret the ratio obtained. Okay, so the question here, or we need to solve for the ratio of sales of product A to the sales of product B, and after that, we interpret the ratio obtained. Okay, let's start with compute the sales for each product. Solving for the sales, we have a formula. Sales is equal to selling price per unit times number of units sold. Based from our given, we have it there, the selling price. We also have the number of units sold. Therefore, we are ready to solve for the sales for product A and product B, respectively. For product A, as you can see it there, sales of for product A, 120 pesos times 2,000 for the number of units sold, which is equal to 240,000 pesos. And then sales for product B will be 54 times 5,000 pesos, and that's equal to 270,000 pesos. To solve that accurately, you may use your calculators again. After that, write the ratio of the sales of product A to product B. Therefore, we write 240 or 240,000 pesos all over 270,000 pesos for the ratio. And then we simplify the given fraction. And as we simplify that, that's 24 over 27. And then 24 over 27, both numbers are divisible by 3. We divide it by 3, both numerator and denominator. For the simplest form, we got 8 over 9 for their ratio, for the simplest form of the ratio. The ratio means that every 9 pesos sales of product B corresponds to 8 pesos sales of product A. And that's how we interpret the fraction or the ratio of the sales. That every 9 pesos sales of product B corresponds to 8 pesos sales of product A. We need to state first the denominator, which is our product B, and then followed by our product A as we interpret. Therefore, the ratio of the sales of the product A to B is 8:9. So here is the ratio for that problem. Afterwards, we have another one. You and your business associate are planning to offer your stretch slim fit tapered jeans on sale at 990 pesos. The original price of the jeans was 1,260 pesos. The cost of the jeans is 70% of the original price. Your business associate is interested in determining the ratio of the sale price to the original price before implementing your plan. What is the ratio of the sale price to the original price in decimal and in percent? Okay, situating the problem there, our given are the following. The here the 990 pesos, which is the planning to offer, and then the original price will be 1,260, and then the cost of the jeans is 70% of the original price. So we have it there, 3 variables given in the problem. And then we need to solve for what is the ratio of the sale price to the original price. Okay, sale price over our original price. So first thing to do is to write the ratio of sale price to original price. After that, it looks like this. Sale price is equal to 990. Original price is 1,260. So 990 for the numerator, 1,260 for the denominator. Next, we'll be simplifying the fraction. 990 over 1,260 is equal to 99 over 126, and we divide both numerator and denominator by 9, since they are divisible by 9. And to solve for the simplest form, we get 11 over 14. And I think in your calculator, when you press when you indicate the given 990 over 1,260, you're gonna derive 11 over 14 for the final answer. That's okay. No problem with that. Therefore, the ratio of the sale price to original price is 11:14. And then as we convert the ratio in decimal and percent, Okay, so we simply write 11 divided by 14. That's the process of converting fraction to decimal and then to percent. So that's going to be 0.7857, and then we move our point to the right 2 times 1, 2, and we get 78.57% for the percentage value. Okay, so those topics that we had before, which talks about conversion, will be applied here. So please don't forget about that. And that's the final answer. Moving on for rate. What's a rate? A rate is a two-term ratio used to compare quantities that have different units. So the word here is different units, right? Because from ratio we were able to compare sales. It's the general comparison of two. And here, it's gonna be specifying different units for rate, because for ratio we could have the same units, but for rate we don't need to have the same units, but specifically we have different units. For example, 200 kilometers is to 4 hours. The units is kilometer. The units are kilometer and hours, so they are different. And convert to unit rates. So we have it here. An example, 6 miles over 3 hours. We just simply simplify that, and then we will get 2 miles per hour. And then 40 words over 2 minutes, that's going to be 40 divided by 2. And then we simplify that, that's going to be 20 over 1. Therefore, 20 words per minute. Another example, 5 miles over 2 hours, that's 5 over 2. And then we simplify it by dividing both sides, or both numerator and denominator, by 2. We will get 2.5 miles per hour. So these are just example how we convert to unit rates. Okay, a sample problem goes like this. The College of Business Administration has 35 faculty members that handle 1,260 students. What is the unit rate of the number of students per faculty member? Okay, so our given variables are the following: 35 faculty and then 1,260 students. So you already have the guide on how to do our rate here. First, write the ratio of 1 to 62 students to 35 faculty members, because our problem will ask about the unit rate or number of students per faculty member. That's why we need to start with 1 to 60 for the numerator, and then faculty member will be the denominator, which is 35. After that, we proceed with simplifying. But for the ratio, that's going to be 1 to 60 over 35. And then finding the unit rate, since if you're asking, sir, isn't it simplifiable? No need to simplify first, because we need to talk about the ratio. The general ratio, which is 1 to 60 is to 35. And in finding the unit rate, here we go. That's the time you are going to simplify the given. So that's going to be 36 over 1, because both numerator and denominator are divisible by 35. Then we get the rate of 36 over 1. And as we conclude that, the unit rate is 36 students per faculty member. This means that one faculty member is assigned to every 36 students. So that's how we are going to conclude our answer. Simple as that, starting with the ratio, moving on with their unit rate, then simplify. Another one. You need paper plates for the event you are organizing. So you went shopping and found several options with the following prices. Okay, so we have brand A, 49.50 per pack for 100 pieces. Brand B, that's 24 pesos per pack for 50 pieces. Brand C, that's 12.25 pesos per pack for 25 pieces. Brand D is 11.50 pesos per pack for 24 pieces. Assuming all these brands have the same quality and have all the requirements that you need for a paper plate, which brand is the best buy if you need 2,000 pieces? So the question goes like this. You need to choose the best brand where you need 2,000 pieces. So how are we going to decide that? From brand A to brand C to brand B to brand D. Okay, simple as following the steps. We need to determine which brand is the best buy or determine the unit price of the plates for each brand. In doing that, brand A, we divided the cost over the per pieces. So 49.50 over 100, that's going to be 0.495. For brand B, that's 24 over 50. So that's going to be 0.48. For brand C, 12.25 over 25, that's going to be 0.49. And for brand D, 11.50 divided by 24, that's going to be 0.479. So which do you think is the best buy here? Since the unit price of brandy paper plates is the lowest, then brandy is the best buy. Okay, we decided for brandy as the best buy already. And that's our answer. Simple as comparing their ratio, the ratio of the two, then we get for the best buy, which is the lowest value or the lowest answer, which is 0.479. Okay, another example. Worker A receives 1,792 pesos for his day's work of 8 hours, while worker B receives 1,500 for his half day's work of 4 hours. Assuming worker A and worker B are doing the same task and have no other difference in their working condition, who gets a better pay? In this case, we need to situate the problem. The problem asks for who gets a better pay. So we will be comparing worker A to worker B. And then for our worker A, we have the variable 1,792 for 8 hours. And then while worker B, 1,500 pesos for his half day's work of 4 hours. And then let's compare who gets a better pay. Determine the unit rate or rate per hour of worker A and worker B. So let's start with worker A. That's 1,792 over 8 hours. So as we simplify that, that's going to be 224 per hour. So that's the pay for worker A. How about worker B? That's 1,500 over 4 hours. So as we simplify that, that's going to be 375 per hour. As you compare, worker B gets a better pay even though he works for only 4 hours. Which means we don't know the position of worker A and worker B because maybe worker B has a higher position and will have a pay of higher salary. So that's possible in the situation. All you need to do, guys, is to be careful on the simplification. And here in worker A, the question there is why did we divide it by 8? Because we need to determine the 1 hour, the pay per 1 hour. Since it's 8 hours here, we need to divide it by 8 for both numerator and denominator for us to know how much will be the pay for per 1 hour. Same goes with worker B. 4 hours for the denominator, therefore we divide it by the value of the denominator, divided by 4 above, or the numerator, divided by 4 for the denominator, we get 375 pesos per hour. As we conclude that one, therefore worker B gets a better pay than worker A based from their rate per hour, and that's how we solve for rate. Moving on to proportions. Proportions, by definition, it is the equations with two equal ratios. Again, proportions, equations with two equal ratios. For example, 2/3 is equal to 4/6. 5 over 15 is equal to 1/3. And then proportions can involve variables. For example, x over 8 is equal to 5 over 16. Another one, x plus 3 over 7 is equal to x minus 2 over 4. Proportion are not just number alone, but we can also include variables and symbols. Now, proportion is as an equation can be written as a over b, which is equal to c over d, or a is to b is equal to c is to d. Okay, don't be confused by that letter. That is letter. That's gonna be letter D. It's D here. I think there's a glitch, so that C is to D. And it is read as A is to B, as C is to D, right? It's D there. Now, we have a kind of proportion, we call it direct proportion. Direct proportion exists when two quantities, x and y, vary directly. That is, if x increases or decreases, then y also increases or decreases, which means it's the direct proportional, no? Direct relationship. If one value increases, another value increases also. At the same time, if this x value decreases, y value also decreases. Also, by the same factor or constant represented below, x sub 1 over y sub 1 is equal to x sub 2 over y sub 2. They are directly proportional to one another in a form like this. So please take note for this form for the direct proportion. Okay, moving on to our example, we have XYZ Garments produces 100 units of children dresses a day with its current workforce of 25 sewers or sewers. The owner has projected an increase in the demand of their children dresses. She planned to hire additional 5 sewers. How many children dresses will XYZ Garments produce with the addition of 5 sewers? Okay, so we need to situate the proportion of the given problem. We have there 100 units of children dresses a day with its current workforce of 25 sewers. So we have a relation of 100 is to 25. And then the other one will be additional 5 sewers, and then we solve for the garments produced by the additional 5 sewers together with the 100. So that's going to be 2 ratio in this given proportion. Okay, so moving on with the solution for you to visualize how it's going to be look like. Since this is an example of direct proportion, we write the proportion as a form like this. After that, we substitute the given. We have present output over present workforce, which is equal to new output over new workforce. So this is just the visualization. If you will be asking, sir, do we need to write present output over present workforce? No, it depends on your interpretation. You can just simply write there present product, right? Because they are producing dresses over present over present individuals, which are the sewers. Okay, or you could just say present dress over present sewers. That's possible. So this is just an example of a representation. After that, let's substitute 100 over 25, which is equal to x sub 2 over 30. So I'm using the variable we have here in our original form, x sub 2 over 30. And in this case, what should be the next step? The next step will be cross multiplication. And how do we apply cross multiplication here? By simply multiplying its cross. Multiply them. So it looks like this. 25 times x sub 2 is equal to 100 times 30. So as you can see there, we are going to multiply these variables, and then we need to solve for x sub 2. And as we go there, 100 times 30, that's equal to 3,000. And after that, we still have a 25 number beside x sub 2. We need to look for the value of x sub 2 alone. In order to do that, we divide both sides by 25. Okay? Again, we divide both sides by 25 for us to cancel out 25 here, so that we will have x sub 2 on the left alone. And then we simplify 3,000 over 25. And after simplifying, we get the answer 120. Or you can just simply divide 3,000 divided by 25. You will get the same answer, which is 120. And that's our final answer. Therefore, 120 children dresses will be produced by XYZ Garments with the additional 5 sewers. Now, moving on to a different proportion. We call it the indirect proportion. Indirect proportion exists when two quantities x and y of the proportion are inversely proportional. Okay, so from the word itself, indirect, it is the opposite one, which is inversely proportional. It means that as x increases, then y decreases, or vice versa. If x decreases, then y increases. So it is in a form like this. X sub 1 over x sub 2 is equal to y sub 2 over y sub 1. So you need to familiarize this one. Okay, don't be confused. X sub 1 over x sub 2 is equal to y sub 2 over y sub 1. So that's how the form looks like. That's the general form of indirect proportion. Now let's have a sample problem. A contractor has a job which should be completed in 80 days. If he fails to finish the job on time, he has to pay 2,000 pesos for each day of delay for liquidated damages. At present, he has 60 men on the job, and it is estimated that they will finish it in 100 days. How much more men should the contractor add so he can complete the job on time and avoid paying penalty charges? So there goes the problem. How much more men should the contractor add so he can complete the job on time and avoid paying penalty charges? So for our variables given, we have 80 days, which will be completed by a contractor. And then another condition, we have he fails to finish the job on time. He has to pay 2,000 for each day of delay for liquidated damages. And then at present, he has 60 men on the job, and is estimated that they will finish it in 100 days, which means it is really delay for his present 60 men. So how much are we going to add for us to achieve it in 80 days? So here is the representation or the visualization of our solution. As you can see there, we set up the proportion for inverse or indirect proportion. So for us to have a guide, you write down x sub 1 over x sub 2 all over y sub 2, is equal to y sub 2 over y sub 1. Okay, so it's gonna be look like this. It should look like this. Present number of days to finish the job with the present number of men, which is the present one, 60, and then required number of days to complete the job. After that, it's gonna be equal to number of men to complete the job on time over the present number of men. Okay, so be careful with that. Again, for your x sub 1, that's going to be present number of days to finish the job with the present number of men. And then for x sub 2, required number of days to complete the job. And then y sub 2, required number of men to complete the job on time over present number of men. So our missing number, or the missing link here, will be the required number of men to complete the job on time. So as we substitute the given, we let x be the additional number of men needed to complete the job on time. Write the proportion as like this, okay? So 100 days, which is the present number of days to finish, and then over 80 days, which is the required number of days, is equal to 60 plus x men. Why there is 60 plus x? Because we have the current number 60 men, right? And then plus x because we don't know yet how much will be added. Over 60 men, which is the present number of men. All we need to do there is to manipulate our given equation. And how do we manipulate that? Apply the cross multiplication again. And then as you apply the cross multiplication, that's the same process. Multiply them, multiply them. That's gonna be 100 times 60 is equal to 80 times 60 times x. After that, we simplify by multiplying them and then distributive property here. And we're gonna have 6,000 is equal to 4,800 plus 80x. If you think we're done, no, we're not yet done because we can combine similar terms. And as you can see, our similar terms are the constant, which is this one. So we combine them. As we combine them, that's going to be 6,000 minus 4,800. If you are asking, sir, how come we get minus 4,800? Because 4,800 from the right was positive. And then as we apply the subtraction property of equality, we will be, it's like transferring the 4,800 to the left. And when you transfer that, that's gonna turn out to a negative value from positive, and then as you transfer, it will turn to negative. And then we are going to subtract them. That's 1,200. So I rewrite it into like this. If you're asking, sir, is that okay? 80x is from the right, and then you write it from the left now. That's okay as long as nothing, no value is being changed. 80x from the left is equal to 1,200. They're just equal from above. It's just like writing 1,200. No, if you want to secure, it's just equal. They are both equal, so don't worry about that. Okay, moving on. Let me erase. So that's gonna be 80x divided by 80 because we need to solve for x alone. Why do we need to divide 80? Because we need to cancel out 80 here. Therefore, x is equal to 1,200 divided by 80. That's gonna be 15. And for our final answer, we get x is equal to 15. And don't forget to conclude. We need to conclude that the contractor needs to add 15 more men to complete the job on time. Now, we have a different type of proportion. We call it the partitive proportion. What is a partitive proportion? It is a kind of proportion where the given total is partitioned or divided into equal or unequal parts depending on the given ratios. So that's how we determine the definition, or that's how we define partitive proportion. Now, for example, a sample problem. A new graduate of an entrepreneurship program plans to divide his mutual trust fund worth 1 million pesos to 3 types of small-scale business in the ratio of 1:2:3. How much should he allocate to each type of business that he plans to put up? In this case, guys, as we should situate the problem, 1 million should be divided into a ratio of 1:2:3. Okay? Or into a scale into 3. So as we visualize the solution, it's going to be like this. Divide the amount of the mutual trust fund by the sum of the terms of the ratio. So again, by the sum. We divide the total amount by the sum of the terms. So as you can see there, we have 1:2:3. We need to add them. 1 million over 1 plus 2 plus 3. So that's going to be 1 million divided by 6, which is equal to 166,666 pesos point 67. So that should be the value for um, for each one. No, this is for each one because we divided by 6. Therefore, we multiply the quotient obtained by each term of the ratio. We multiply this value to our term, which is 1 multiplied by this, 2 multiplied by this, and 3 multiplied by this. So it's going to look like this. We multiply it by 1, so just the same. After that, we multiply it by 2. That's going to be 333 100,000 pesos and 333 pesos point 33 centavo, diba? And after that, we multiply the same value by 3, and that's gonna be 500,000 pesos. Now, this we already divided the 1 million pesos into a partition of 1 is to 2 is to 3, and these are our answer. Therefore, he should allocate the following amount on the small businesses that he plans to put up. So the red values here are the answers. The first one, and then this is for 2, and this is for the 3. So this is our answer. And that ends our discussion for ratio, rates, and proportion. If you have further question, you can comment down your questions and I am going to reply with you there. And you can also, and for my students, please do make use of our group chat to deliver your questions and concerns. Thank you so much and God bless you all.